And today what we're going to look at are past C clauses. So hypothetical, contrary to fact things that happened or may have happened or could have happened in the past. Well, what does it look like? Let's start with a formula. And the first thing we need is the word C. No accent, no written accent. If we had that, it would mean yes, so no accent. And then we're going to have a verb. And then a comma. And another verb. Our first verb will be the past perfect subjunctive. Now this has some other names to it. You could call it the pluperfect subjunctive. Or if you were to do it in Spanish, you would have the pluscuamperfecto de subjuntivo. Then the second one we have is the conditional perfect. A key word that we can look at is the word perfect. So our perfect tenses, we know, use a form of haber, and then we're going to add to it the past participle. So if we are working in the past perfect subjunctive, that means we want to take haber and put it into the past subjunctive, which would be I'm not going to write out all the forms. You can look them up if you don't know them. And then we'd add our past participle, which would be something like hablado or comido, spoken, eaten. Most of them end in ado or ido, and then some of our irregulars end in ito. And then if we're working with the conditional perfect, again, that word perfect lets us know that we need a form of haber, and then our past participle, and the conditional form of haber would be habría. Don't forget your written accent. And again, you can look up the rest of the forms plus our past participle. Again, most of them end in ado or ido. A bunch of the irregulars end in ito. Let's go ahead and look at a couple examples. If Doc Brown had not fallen in the bathroom, he would not have invented the flux capacitor, right? Remember Doc Brown? Good old Doc Brown from Back to the Future. We do know what the flux capacitor is, right? Please tell me we know what the flux capacitor is. I mean, the thing that makes time travel possible? Where would we be without the flux? I guess it was yellow, the flux capacitor. Doc Brown is in his bathroom in 1955. He falls and invents this, and then in 1985, Marty McFly gets into the DeLorean. Let's see, DeLorean. Now it looks like a tank. Gets up to 88 miles per hour, and he goes back to 1955? Maybe. I don't know. Okay, so let's figure out how to write this sentence. We're going to go ahead and start with here. Well, we found our if, so we know that's right here. And always associated with the if is the past perfect subjunctive. So if Doc Brown had not fallen. So what is the infinitive that we would be working with? Well, the infinitive would be caer. So we need to take caer and put it into the past perfect subjunctive. In the bathroom. Comma, right? So then there's that next piece, comma. He would not have invented. So to invent is, and we will take that and conjugate it into the conditional perfect. And to be quite honest, I have no idea how to say flux capacitor in Spanish, so we'll just call it FC. There you go. If followed by past perfect subjunctive, comma, and then the conditional perfect. All right, let's look at another one. Marty McFly would not have traveled to 1955 if the flux capacitor had not existed. All right, well, let's identify our C. So I changed this one a little bit for you. So if, instead of it being at the beginning like we had in the first example, we switch the order, and that's okay. We can take these two blocks that we have at the top up here and we can change them. But remember, the C always goes right with past perfect subjunctive. So Marty McFly would not have traveled. To travel to 1955 if the flux capacitor had not existed. Existir is the infinitive here. Alright, so Marty McFly would not have traveled. That would be the conditional perfect. If, let's see if I can move my if over just a little bit. There we go. And let's grab that there. Would not have traveled if, we'll call it, I think flux capacitor should be masculine. Why not? Want it to be feminine? Okay, let's make it feminine. La flux capacitor no hubiera if the flux capacitor had not existed. So what we did in the first example up here, we see that we had C followed by past perfect subjunctive. I changed it for the second example and we put C in the beginning, but we still followed it with the past perfect subjunctive. So when you're working with past C clauses, which are hypothetical or contrary to fact situations, there are two parts to it. C with past perfect subjunctive and the conditional. And if you want, you can move the order around. All right. If you had been in the same spot of Marty McFly, to what time period would you have traveled? Let me know. Leave a comment. Suerte.